Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for joining me again. Today I am going to be talking about habits. I get a lot of people coming to me who have, certain habits that they want to change, whether that's in line with Islam, so perhaps they're doing things that they know isn't appropriate in Islam, maybe listening to music, maybe watching too many movies, and so on and so forth. And I think it's really important that we talk about habits and how we change, because often people don't know how to get out of that, because habit is habitual, so it's something that you just do, and then it becomes almost like mindless, and we don't even know why we're doing it. So I think it's, first of all, to establish around habits is the idea of what is the thing that I want to change. Okay, so look at your daily life and look at the things that you do and ask yourself, the things that I do, whether I do them consciously or subconsciously, like whether I'm just doing them because I've never even thought about it. And remember, the habits could be like physical habits, so it could be brushing your teeth, driving to work, or washing the pots and pans, whatever it might be. And they could be habits that are spiritual as well, so the thoughts that you have every time somebody speaks to you, or how you're reading your salah. Everything goes into habits. And there's a statement that says, show me a man's habits and I'll show you a man's success. And I think that's essentially, the baseline of it, especially for us Muslims, where we do have habits and rituals that we're supposed to do throughout the day, like our salah, and then we have Ramadan come up, and those micro habits help us to do the bigger acts of worship. So first thing I would say, in terms of habits, is to just observe yourself, okay? Look at your manners. If there's habits in your mannerisms that you think, I noticed this about myself. Maybe it's an action, maybe it's a productivity thing that you want to do, and start to recognize what you're doing at the moment. So nothing about change, just about what's going on at the time. And once you've observed that, once you've got a kind of a diary of, this is what's going on, then you want to be thinking about, because I think what people want to do is say, oh, I want to go to the gym, I want to add something on, without looking at what already exists. So I think it's important first to know where you're at. And once you know where you're at, then you can go to changing things, okay, or adding things on. Don't start by just adding more and more on, because usually what we find is those things don't last very long. So the first thing is elimination. Are there habits that I'm doing that I either need to change or eliminate? Like, I don't want to do those things anymore, okay? And then once you've logged that down, you start to see that, yeah, these are the habits and this is what I would like to change. Now, what's really good is if you've got a habit that's, say, sleeping late, or eating the wrong foods at a certain time, or smoking, or listening to music in the car, sometimes that's so easy for us to do because it's just kind of done subconsciously, that one of the ways that we can help ourselves is to replace that habit. So if I'm getting in the car and I'm listening to music, is to say, right, none of the radio stations are going to be on, or it's going to be scrambled. Any CDs that I have in the car, I'm going to remove them so I don't have access to them. And then I'm going to have available to me alternates, okay? So alternating and replacing a habit is a really good way of doing that. Another thing could be about eating habits, as an example. If you'll notice that I eat when I'm sad, or I eat at this time, or I have a little bit of dessert after I've eaten. So it's just noticing that that's what I do. And then I'm craving that dessert, but instead I think I have an alternate available so that I can at least replace before I eliminate, okay? So that's one way of doing that, just to replace and then eliminate. And I think as well, if we, in terms of like Islamically, important reasons that, we should be talking about habits as Muslims is because at the end of our lives, we're going to be accountable for every action that we took. And either we can choose to be mindless and think that this is it, this is how we are, we have no capacity to change. And that's not true. We all have the capacity to change, and we all have the capacity to get better. And I think, what's important in terms of the mindset shift in doing this is to have that belief that I can. And sometimes you might need external help. You might need an accountability partner, or, you might need your wife or your husband or a friend reminding you, like, look, let's do this, or you partner up with somebody to get it done. But I think a lot of the times, a good place to start when we're trying to change habits is to really think about, our values. So sometimes when we're trying to change a habit, we think, this is what I want to do, like this is to be, like to do, like I want to do this and then I'll get that. Rather than looking at what is my identity, like who do I want to be? This is the sort of person I want to be. I want to be a non-smoker. I want to be somebody who ate healthy, or I want to be somebody who listened to Quran a lot. And when you have that deeper value setting up those habits becomes a lot easier, because your motivation then is such an intrinsic motivation that you end up doing it, with a lot more ease and the drive to do it. So it doesn't run out very easily. You don't think, I'm going to do it for a couple of days and then I'm going to stop. Because no, if I'm somebody who sees myself as a healthy person, then eating cake isn't, it doesn't correlate to that. So I'm not going to do that. And so start to think about, who do I want to be as a human being? When I go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what's my identity? What sort of person would I be proud to be? Like looking at yourself, like if I looked at myself in 10 years' time, I'd be proud to say, this is the person that I was. And that's what's most important. If you are aligned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your identity is aligned to that, and you build that up inside yourself, the habits become a lot easier to change.